Welcome to Stouffville Honda. My name is Brian and thank you for tuning in. This video is going to talk about Honda safety. Now, safety is one of the key pillars of the Honda brand, and it's really hard to put a value on safety. It's just so important. So I'm going to take you through some of the key things about Honda and why you're probably not going to find a safer vehicle for the money. Now, safety is so important with Honda. They have their own independent crash test facility in the United States where all they do is destroy cars all day. Probably an amazing job. And out of that, they've got a lot of lessons learned. So one of the things you need to know is Honda has developed something called an ACE body structure. And that stands for Advanced Compatibility Engineering. The vehicle has a really high content of what's called high tensile steel. High tensile steel is stronger than regular steel, but it's also less weight. And what it does is it's designed to disperse the energy of a collision around the cabin versus going through the cabin. This is absolutely vital to your protection. Now, the airbags deploy off something called the dual stage airbag system. So depending on the nature of the collision, the airbags will deploy in a way that's best suited for the occupant's protection. Now, as long as your cell phone is paired up to the vehicle, there's something called Honda Link Assist, and what that'll do is if the airbags deploy and the car detects a crash, the car will call Honda. There's an operator standing by 24 hours, 7 days a week, and they will send out emergency services to your location. They can actually triangulate where you are from your cell signal. So if you're not in the car and a family member's driving, Honda is protecting your family in the unfortunate incident that something bad should happen. Now, this vehicle is a Honda Civic. This one's a touring edition, and it comes pre-equipped with what's called Honda sensing technology. Now, Honda believes in safety for everyone. So you can get Honda sensing technology. It's already included in what's called the EXT, EX, or available in the LX. Again, safety is so important. They make this accessible on almost every trim level. So Honda sensing. There's actually a camera mounted to the rearview mirror, and there's a radar system built into the front bumper assembly. And the vehicle is constantly searching for the shapes of cars, people, and it's also observing the lines on the road. So it has a forward collision warning. If you're coming in too quick on something, it'll let you know brake, brake, brake. But it's got a collision mitigation braking system. So if you weren't paying attention and a car was stopped in front of you, under the right conditions, the car will try to either A, slow down to reduce the severity of the collision, or B, stop completely to avoid the collision altogether. And you might be surprised on how that affects your insurance rates. They're coming down. Number two is it has a lane departure warning. It's part of the road departure mitigation system. So if you're driving over 72 kilometers an hour and the road conditions are clear and you start crossing over lines on the road without applying a turn signal, the vehicle thinks that you're distracted or fatigued. It's going to alert you. Now, let's say you're crossing over a solid line on the right side without signaling. You might be heading off into a ditch. So the steering wheel is going to vibrate to kind of wake you up in case you're drowsy and sort of try to nudge you back in the lane to keep you safe. That's a fantastic feature. Now, there's two other features when they worked in combination. It's absolutely amazing. So one is adaptive cruise control. So let's say with regular cruise control, you're on the 401, you've got it set at 100 kilometers an hour. It's doing 100 kilometers an hour until you hit the brakes or you turn the system off. Adaptive cruise control, though, means you can have it set at 100, and if you start creeping up on a driver that might be doing 90 kilometers an hour, it'll slow down to 90 automatically and giving you a safe stopping distance. And if that car moves out of the way, it'll go back to its intended speed of 100 kilometers an hour. So with your foot off the accelerator, it's actually safely controlling the speed for you. I absolutely love this feature. The next one is called lane keeping assist. The vehicle's not going to fight you, but when the system's on, it will provide a little bit of steering input, and that's going to keep you in the center of the lane. That way you're avoiding side swipes left and right. Now, I don't recommend driving with no hands and no feet, but with those two systems in operation, you can actually do it for short spurts. It's actually really, really cool. So that's Honda sensing, but there's more. Now, in this particular package, it has a camera mounted to the right side. This is something exclusive to Honda called Lane Watch. When you apply the right turn signal, this camera comes on. It shows you so much more around the vehicle. Kind of like the backup camera. It's going to come through the big display, but it's for the right side of the vehicle. So now you're seeing what's on the right side of the car. It's to assist your shoulder check, not replace it. When you cancel the signal, it'll shut off, but also you can press a button at the end of the turn signal stick, and it'll stay on in real time until you press it and turn it off again. Now, the cool thing there is if you're ever downtown in a large urban center, let's say Toronto, the cyclists make people really, really nervous because typically you may not see them flying up on the inside lane. You're going to see them with the lane watch camera, so you'll know when to avoid them. But maybe it's motorcycles on the road or other vehicles around you, or maybe even kids in the neighborhood. There's a lot of reason for this camera, and lane watch is exclusive to Honda, and it's just so, so important. Protection. In the event of a serious head-on collision, the engine mount will drop out completely. You may run over it, but it's not going to visit you in the cabin. And these little perforations are for energy absorbing crumple zones. You're not going to find a safer car for the money, especially with the Honda Civic. But again, Honda believes in safety for everyone. You're going to find such safety technologies available in all Honda products. It's so important for Honda that they're out to protect you and your family. Again, the airbags will deploy off what's called a dual stage airbag system. So depending on the nature of the collision, the airbags will deploy whatever way is best suited to protect you in the collision. And if the airbags deploy and the car detects a crash, the car calls Honda. There's an operator standing by 24 hours, 7 days a week. They can triangulate where you are from your cellular signal, and they will send out emergency services to you and your family. So Honda is looking out for you, and there's no charge for that. It's something that Honda does to protect their customers. Again, that's Honda Link Assist, and as long as you have your cell phone paired up to the vehicle, they'll send out help to you.